Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. We got a big boxing show for y'all today. We talking boxing. You know, we got my man Byron here to school y'all on this thing. But before we get into it, make sure you go to Spectator Sporting on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. Also go on TikTok, keep running those numbers up. And if you're in the car, go ahead and turn on the Spotify. After a bizarre 2025, Keyshawn Davis, a.k.a. the businessman, returns to the ring, moving up to the super lightweight division after not being able to make weight his last fight, being stripped of his belt. The talented fighter, 13-0, 9 knockouts, will face Jermaine Ortiz, 22-1 with 10 knockouts. Last fight defeated Bautista with a third-round TKO and might be facing the biggest challenge of his career. Byron, talk to me about this fight.
This is a blessing. This is a blessing that just dropped in to Keyshawn Davis' lap. Following him on social media, seeing his response to it. You know, to come back to a co-main event, to the first big fight of 2026. This is a blessing, and I think he's very humbled, very thankful for it. But to be able to move up to 140, fight a guy who's been in there with TFE Male, fight a guy who's been in there with Lomachenko, like, you couldn't ask for a better situation. And this guy, Ortiz, was actually, you know, kind of flirting with the idea of fighting Richardson and Hitchens, but that kind of fell through in the 9th hour. So ends up on a co-main event for Shakur Stevenson and TFE Male. Man, this is a blessing. I hope that Keyshawn Davis has taken his time to get his head together and to be what we've been seeing him be in the ring. He was dominant at 135, and I think he can be dominant at 140 or 147.
Keyshawn Davis, definitely a very talented fighter, Adi, going against Ortiz, who's shown that he's got some talent as well, moving up to the 140 division. What's your thoughts on this fight?
Wasn't it rumors that Richardson, Hitchens, and Keyshawn Davis was supposed to fight on this undercard?
No, that was a lot of smoke. I'm saying there was talk of Ortiz and Hitchens fighting. You know, I think the banter between Keyshawn Davis and Hitchens was just that. It wasn't anything, you know, as far as contracts. And what we're learning about Richardson Hitchens is that he likes to talk, but he doesn't like to fight.
Well, he beat Kambosos, though.
Yeah, he beat him. He definitely won.
Well, in my opinion, Keyshawn Davis had a more disappointing 2005 than Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. I think he had a worse, most disappointing year than both of those guys. Okay, because
good argument.
My expectations for Keyshawn Davis was higher than those guys. And so it looked like Keyshawn Davis was on a Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. He was getting up there with Richardson Hitchens and the Shakur Stevensons. He was getting up there on their level, all right? But that canceled fight versus the dangerous Dominican De Los Santos was deflating. And Keyshawn Davis displayed a great example of how to make a bad situation worse. He, after the fight, after Nahir Albright defeated his older brother, Calvin Davis, he stormed into the man's locker room and attacked him. And it was just, it sucked. It looked real bad. And so then Keyshawn took the rest of the year off and got a lot of bad publicity. And so, not to mention, Keyshawn Davis, his victory over Nahir Albright 2 years ago was downgraded to a no contest because of cloudy piss. The marijuana. He pissed hot with the weed and everything. So that win he had over Nahir Albright is now a no contest. All right. And so now Keyshawn Davis is coming off the longest fight drought of his career. And is he, like how Birdman for Cash Money Records would say, is he done or finished with the self-destruction? Because either option would work for me. Be done or finish with it. And so,
hell no, that went to the archive.
Are you done?
That was good. I like it.
Are you done or finished, my friend? I'll take either one. But here's the thing. Keyshawn Davis would have to do it without the trainer of the year, Bomac. Yeah. Bomac, the trainer of Terrence Bud Crawford, one of the greatest fighters we've seen, probably fighter of the decade. He did a good job with Keyshawn Davis too. He's the one who was in his corner to put him on the map to make us all believe he was going to be a superstar. And now, for some reason, Bo Mack is gone. He's not going to train him for this fight against Jermaine Ortiz. So that's disappointing. But new trainer, new year, new me. It's time to prepare for Jermaine, the Technician Ortiz. He's been at 140, the 140-pound division for 2 years. He's no tomato can. It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough.
Alrighty, so talk to me about Jermaine Ortiz. You know, we say it'll be if he beat Keyshawn, it'll be an upset. But
Right.
talk to me, what does he bring to the table that Keyshawn need to be wary of?
Jermaine, the Technician Ortiz, is in his prime and only 2 years older than Keyshawn Davis. With 20 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, he has 10 more professional fights than Keyshawn Davis. And Jermaine Ortiz, he has fought much tougher competition than Keyshawn Davis and looked good in those fights. 3 years ago against Lomachenko, it looked like he was going to pull off the upset of the year. But Lomachenko, he displayed superior endurance in the championship rounds as Jermaine Ortiz faded and looked fatigued in the championship rounds, and he ended up losing that fight by unanimous decision. But about a year later, Jermaine Ortiz, he did not get tired against Teofimo Lopez, okay? His footwork and elusiveness it frustrated Teofimo Lopez for all 12 rounds. Teofimo, you can see him, you can just look at his body language and how he was like in that fight against Ortiz.
If he would have just sat down on a few combinations.
Yeah, Teofimo was clearly frustrated fighting Jermaine Ortiz because the footwork, the elusiveness, the movement, he just didn't know how to cut off the ring. And Jermaine Ortiz actually outlanded Teofimo in that fight, but he lost that fight by the slimmest of margins. 2 judges scored that fight, 115, 113. I scored it a 114 draw, but I'm not mad. If you're gonna fight a big name, you're an underdog. You gotta do a little bit more.
You gotta do more.
Yeah.
He ran too much.
You gotta beat the champ. If you're gonna beat the champ, you gotta beat him.
Yeah. They're not gonna just let you upset Teofimo, the big name guy. So, but Jermaine Ortiz, he has defeated some very solid fighters. He defeated Nahir Albright, defeated Jamel Herring, and he was supposed to fight the Dragon Steve Claggett in his last fight, but Claggett had a shoulder injury and pulled out the fight last minute, and that's why Jermaine Ortiz got that 3rd round TKO over the 6-foot Dominican Bautista. And so this should be a good one.
Do you think the layoff that Keyshawn could hurt him in this fight?
Yeah, it could hurt him. He hasn't fought in a year. He's not used to having these long layoffs. And Jermaine Ortiz, I believe he just fought in August. So, and you know what I'm saying? So he's been in the ring, and that can play a factor for sure. And he's getting a new trainer.
Yeah. So, Brian, what's your thoughts on Jermaine Ortiz? You know, we saying he gonna pull off the upset, but like Adi said, he seems like a very seasoned fighter. What's your thoughts about that?
Adi basically hit everything on the head. Ortiz is tough. He fought a very tough fight against Lomachenko, fought an even tougher fight against Teofimo, was scheduled to fight Claggett, which wasn't a step down in competition. Like, if you look at this guy, he's either going toward championship or gatekeeper status. It seems like he gets better, but his last fight, he did have hiccups, with Steve Claggett pulling out of that fight and Batista being a last minute addition. He missed weight by 4 pounds. And that's a thing where, missing weight is a no-no. So I thought it was poetic justice, him fighting Keyshawn Davis. Both of them missing weight, their last time out. Ortiz got to fight, Keyshawn Davis didn't. So looking at this guy from looking at the film, his last few fights, I see him as solid. The Lomachenko fight, I think he lost that fight because he faded in the championship rounds. But I've just seen him get better. I've seen him get better in the championship rounds. I don't think he'll fade in the championship rounds. And I think as far as a fighter to gauge whether Keyshawn Davis is serious about this, or even if, going into the 140-pound division is a smart move, this is the perfect opponent for him to fight. Like, this isn't a tomato can. This is a tough kid. He doesn't want to lose. He's going to fight this fight to win. Keyshawn Davis comes in 5'9", 70-inch reach. He comes in 5'8" with a 69-inch reach. Both of them have a pretty good jab, but I think that Keyshawn Davis has more power than Ortiz.
For sure.
And, it's going to be how Keyshawn Davis, inflicts his offense on him, because the kid is solid, but I think, runs a little bit too much, can be a little bit gun shy, and I think that's what hurts him in the big fights. Definitely, he got a mouthpiece on him too. He talk a lot of shit too. So I like Jamaine Ortiz. I mean, I think he's confident. He should have beat Tia Female. He had a real tough fight against Tia Female, so he got a special place with me. Yeah. But I like this opponent. Like this is a fight. When I saw it come to fruition, I was excited for Keyshawn Davis, excited for boxing fans, because again, this is a competitive fight on a competitive card, and it's a co-main event.
What technical aspect you think Ortiz can bring that can possibly give Keyshawn problems?
I think he'll stay fundamentally sound in the championship rounds. He'll keep pumping that jab. He won't run away from it, and he'll kind of stay close to his foundations. Yeah. Of what he does good: footwork, jab, movement. He's not going to be basically just standing in front of Keyshawn Davis, letting Keyshawn Davis inflict his offense upon him. Keyshawn Davis is going to have to cut off the ring. He's going to have to be mentally in this fight, because if he's not, he can lose this fight. Now, he won't lose it by knockout, because I don't think Ortiz has that type of power. But this is a fight where if you're not on your P's and Q's, you can easily lose. And if you look at the wealth of competition that he's had, which it's not even a comparison, who has the deeper resume? By far, it's Ortiz. To call him an underdog in this fight, I don't really consider him an underdog in this fight, because one, I don't think Keyshawn Davis has the fights to say that he's so much further over Ortiz, but also you're moving up to a new division and you're moving up with a new trainer. So while most people will just look at Keyshawn Davis like, man, this is a fight where he's just leaps and bounds above the competition, that is very, very far from the truth. Ortiz is in this fight to win this fight, and it's a great fight. Like, I don't know who gave this to Keyshawn Davis, but he needs to be thankful to the boxing gods. This is a very, very good opportunity, given the last time we saw him out, how foolish he made himself look. This is redemption, and I hope he takes advantage of it.
Do you think if he wins this fight, he gonna stay at 140, or you think he going up
Absolutely
to 140?
Not. I think Keyshawn Davis, we always knew, well, I did, I don't know about the other people on the panel, but I've always thought that Keyshawn Davis had a big frame. He reminded me of Terrence Crawford when he fought at 135.
Yeah.
You just kind of knew he wasn't going to be there long. And I don't think, even at 140, I don't knock the fact that he doesn't want to fight Shakur Stevenson. Like some people, might knock him. Keyshawn Davis has a set plan for himself. And if it's available to you to win this fight at 140 and then go up to 147 and challenge a Devin Haney, what would you do? Why would you stay at 140 knowing that, you don't want to fight Shakur Stevenson because he's going to beat the shit out of Tia Female Lopez. Richardson Hitchens, he's talking about moving up. Gary Antoine Russell, he's talking about moving up. I mean, why? It just makes financial sense to migrate to 147, make 147 great again, make it the one of the best divisions in boxing, and then fight it out for undisputed status there. I mean, because if you have champions like Russell, Davis, and Haney, like you might see an undisputed champion manifest. Like those guys, I don't think they'll duck smoke like that, because I don't think King Lai or Rolly Romero would even be. They won't be there that much longer. So I think the financial blessings of 147 are way more attractive than staying at 140 and fighting through politics. Will Tia Female fight you? Won't he fight you? Or, I think he's too big for 135. He doesn't want to have any more belts lost on the scale. So it just makes sense. Move up to a weight And my thing is the power. So this is going to be a really good. We're going to be looking at how good he looks. We're going to looking at if it lasts to the championship rounds, how his wind is, stamina. But if he looks solid at 140, I think Keyshawn Davis can carry that to 147 and be successful.
You want to respond to that, Artie?
Yeah, well, when I saw Keyshawn's last fight versus Dennis Berenchyk, he just looked so much larger.
He was so much bigger.
I don't know if he had a rehydration clause or what, but he just looked way bigger than,
he's big.
Than Dennis Berenchyk in that fight. But the thing is, now Keyshawn Davis is the #1 contender for the 140-pound WBO belt. So, which is held by Teofimo Lopez, which can be lost to Shakur Stevenson. Then, if Keyshawn Davis defeats Jermaine Ortiz, he will become the WBO mandatory challenger for Shakur Stevenson's WBO belt at 140. So, since you pretend like Shakur Stevenson is your brother, you move up to 147, and that's why he would do it. Now, this Jermaine Ortiz fight, it's a dangerous fight. And I was thinking that maybe he's taking this fight because Jermaine Ortiz is really good with the footwork stuff. So, Keyshawn Davis says he wants to fight Devin Haney.
Yeah.
So, fight
Pay attention,
Jermaine
guys.
Ortiz.
That's a smart move.
Get yourself acclimated against someone with really good footwork, and then it prepares you for when you jump up to 147 and fight Devin Haney, whose footwork has really improved lately. So I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know who manifested it, but it plays right into his favor. And like Keyshawn Davis, the skills is there. The eye test, he passed all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate that bad moment that he had last year because a lot of people will judge him off of that. But you understand, he's a kid, young man. They make mistakes. I think he's better.
If he come and do what he's supposed to do against Ortiz, that'll all be put past.
Oh man! If he
stops
Jermaine Ortiz,
if he come and whoop Jermaine Ortiz,
man.
that'll be an afterthought. Well, nobody won't even talk about that no more.
No, yeah, you're right. No one would even. That would just be one of those things when Pippen didn't go in the game.
Well, they don't hate him like they hate Haney because. Haney they still talking about Lion Garcia. And he didn't want a chip, and they still running their mouth.
He has to fight Ryan Garcia. Well, Devin Haney. He has to fight him.
No.
Yeah.
No.
He does. He has to fight him again.
So, Adi, what's going to happen in this fight with Ortiz and Keyshawn Davis? Is Keyshawn going to win this fight? Are we going to see an upset? What's going to happen?
Well, Keyshawn Davis' last 2 fights versus Gustavo Lemos and Dennis Berenchyk was easy work. Not this time. So, Jermaine Ortiz is underrated. This fight is underrated. But Ortiz has experienced what happens to him whenever he leaves his faith in the hands of the judges versus big names. So, Jermaine Ortiz, he should attempt to outbox and use those footwork skills against Keyshawn Davis for a majority of the fight. Okay, because Keyshawn Davis, when's the last time he fought past 10, 11 rounds? Because he's been knocking people out in the 2nd, 4th round.
Yeah.
Jermaine Ortiz is used to going to the distance. And he learned from the Lomachenko fight. Lomachenko fight, he gassed out in the championship rounds, but later on when he fought Teofimo, he was fresh. He was moved. People say he moved too much, but hey, if you can move around in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th round and that means you in hella shape.
Yeah, you're in great shape.
So if he can drag Keyshawn to 9, 10, 11, round 12, and then start to try to attack, get aggressive, maybe get a knockdown.
To make it interesting.
Yeah.
But he won't do that. He's going to lose by unanimous decision.
The safe route.
Yeah.
Unanimous decision. He can get knocked out, though.
Adi said unanimous decision. He said the safe route. What route you going with this fight?
I believe in Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis said he's going to knock Ortiz's ass out. And I think he's going to knock Ortiz out in the 8th round. I believe in Keyshawn Davis. And that's, this kid is on a mission. You can kind of, even though it might be an imagination land take, but he been training for a year.
That's fair.
And be it without a trainer, be it without, like, he's had his brother lose. He's kind of had the family. He's got a lot of pressure in this fight. And I think what Keyshawn Davis does better than a lot of people is he just gets in that ring and he manifests. Whatever frustrations he has, whatever, he's going to manifest that. And I think he's going to knock Ortiz out, which will kind of propel him. And that's just what I'm banking on. I think Ortiz gets knocked out in the 8th round to a guy who's just God-given talent better than him.
I got Keyshawn in this fight too. I just think, like, watching Keyshawn fight, he jumps off the screen. You know how, like, you see somebody, they just he's got a lot
and
of
he
talent.
doesn't fight tentative. He doesn't fight to outpoint you. He fights to stop you.
Yes.
Like,
and that's why I'm just picking this.
Yeah, like y'all say, he looks bigger than what his actual weight is. He's tall. I just think I think he wins this fight, and I got it a 9th round knockout. For
Nice. Oh, you going for the knockout?
Yeah, everybody's going knockout.
Yeah, I'm going for the knockout.
Keyshawn said he's knocking him, and it's again watching him. It's watching how Ortiz fought in that Tia fight. He's very tentative. He's more of a boxer. And sometimes I think he can get a little gun shy. And that's where I think he's gonna slip up in this fight. I think he's gonna get a little bit too gun shy, he's gonna get caught, and get knocked out.
Yeah, I think the talent of Keyshawn shows up in this fight. Been off a year. He got a lot to prove after what happened to him in 2025. So
and I want him to knock out because I want him to set up the fight of the effing year. If you really going after Haney, 4th quarter 2026. Let's set it up with a knockout.
That'll get that.
Let's go, Keyshawn.
Hey, hopefully that happens. You've been watching Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Artie Wiley. Shout out to my man Byron over here. Make sure y'all go on YouTube, subscribe to that Spectator Sporting page, like, comment, subscribe. Go on TikTok, run those numbers up. And if you in your car, go ahead and turn on the Spotify. You can listen while you riding. In the meantime, in between time, we out. Peace.
I just knew he was gonna pick a knockout. You don't believe. Ortiz tough.